Hey everybody, this is Robert here back with another video. This time I would like to talk about computer topic. Just for fun. Well, not really for fun, but I think for your information. So the question is, how much RAM do you really need? Now, for those of you who are like, what the heck is RAM? So RAM stands for Random Access Memory. So it's basically the working memory of your computer. If you kind of think about the layout of the computer, is it starts with the CPU, and also the CPU is the central processing unit where everything gets processed and displays on the screen. And inside that chip is a little bit of memory called cache, and that's where its closest and fastest memory is, but it's very expensive. So usually it's about a couple megabytes of cache. Then you have your random access memory, which is your working memory, and those can go all the way up to like 64 gigabytes or more of RAM. And that is actually the memory that your operating system actually and also some of your graphics gets put onto, so that it will be able to quickly access it to display, YouTube or whatever memory, whatever thing you want on the computer. So after that, you will have your hard disk drive, which is either mechanical hard drive, which is very, very slow, but you can go up to like a few terabytes of memory, or if you have a solid state drive, like I just upgraded my computer in recent months to a solid state drive, and those are actually fast with the same amount of with a little bit less data, like less capacity. They do have like 1 to 2 terabyte solid state drives, but of course they're very expensive, even on Amazon. Now, you can buy an SSD from a solid state drive from Office Depot. You can buy it from Walmart, on their online website at least. You can buy it from Amazon, even GearBest, which I think is more like a Chinese site or something. But I have not seen them on like Wish.com or any other. So, alright, so let's answer this question. So, if you have a laptop or a desktop, you'll need at least 4 gigabytes of RAM just to run the OS and anything you need. And OS stands for operating system. That's pretty much to have, for a decent CPU, and for a 64-bit operating system, you must have 4 gigabytes or more of RAM. Now, for a 32-bit operating system, you can go down from there for like older computers. For older computers, 2 or 3 gigabytes is the absolute minimum. But if you have a 64-bit operating system, you need at least 4 gigabytes. Now, if you do like gaming or video editing, I do video editing for the most part, and maybe a couple casual games, but nothing crazy. You'll need 8 or even 16 gigabytes of RAM, and that will process everything better. Also, there's this thing called page files, and swapping that goes on when the computer runs out of RAM. It just for programs, and that's where all the programs go onto is RAM, and they basically just swap an older program that's not being used at the moment to the program that you need. Now, for mobile phones and tablets and things like that, iOS, you should have like 1.5 to 2 gigabytes of RAM at the minimum. Although the iPhone XR or the XS can go all the way up to 6 gigabytes or even 8 gigabytes of RAM. And for Android, you're definitely going to need at least 3 gigabytes, or 2 or 3 gigabytes or more of RAM. Like the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 or Note 9 rather, has about 8 gigabytes of RAM. But for my Android phone, this Android phone, it's kind of a cheaper knockoff, sort of, from a reputable company called Alcatel. This has only 2 gigabytes of RAM. And that's the absolute minimum, really, for it to work. As you can, let me just show you. It's snappy enough to where it's not taking forever to load. Like that. Something like that. So, now, should you upgrade your RAM? If your computer's slow, should you upgrade your RAM? Not necessarily. There are some things that you need to turn off if your computer is really slow. There's some things that you absolutely need to turn off, and the best upgrade really for your PC or Mac or Chromebook is to use a solid state drive, SSD, instead of the mechanical hard drive. And one last thing before I go. By the way, the U.S. just celebrated Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to everyone who does celebrate. And if you don't celebrate, well, just be thankful to the Lord for what you have, and it's good to give to those who don't have anything, who really don't have anything. It's good to give. Yeah, so last thing I have is, if your PC or Mac is at least 7 or 8 years old, or even 10 years old, and of course it's getting really, really slow, and things like that, just save up the money to buy a new one. Chromebooks are pretty cheap nowadays. If you're looking for a really good deal, Chromebooks, you probably can get like $200 Chromebook at the very high end, maybe a little more, and they go down from there somewhat, to a certain extent. Also, you can also get a new Mac or a PC. Now, Macs are very, very top of the line and expensive, but for video editing, it's perfect. Well, almost perfect. Yeah. Another thing you can do is, if you really need to upgrade your RAM, then do so up to the manufacturer point. You can go on like Crucial.com or Kingston.com and test your computer to see what's your limit for the amount of RAM, because there is a limit to what your motherboard can handle for RAM. Of course, you can try to get like a external or internal graphics card. That could help. But really, the best thing you can do is for any kind of upgrade is a solid state drive. Now, one thing you can do is, of course, you can also reinstall your operating system, and back up your data first. But you can reinstall your operating system fresh from scratch. You would just need to have a backup tool, such as Macrium Reflect or EASUS has a backup and restore manager as well. So do that. Other than that, that's all I have for today, and give thanks for all that you have, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.